Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are talking about not this knife. This is the EDC by Spearhead Soul Hunter, and this is one that we've talked about before. Well, they've come out with a new knife called the Crimson Edge. Now, these knives do have some similarities, but they also have some notable differences, and we're going to go over those differences today. I was just bringing this one out to show, hey, if this knife looks familiar, it should, because we've talked about its brother. Very cool knife. All right, now we're talking about the Crimson Edge with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. And this was sent in by EDC by Spearhead. I do have to send it back to him, unfortunately. I do not get to keep it. And this was designed and OEM'd in-house by Spearhead. That's right. They do all of their OEM work, and every single knife that goes through machining then gets finished by hand by one guy. And that guy is Senyuto. The knives come with a date. They come with some basic specs. But Senyuto is the one-man machine that makes every knife they produce a mid-tech, because a lot of this stuff is done by hand. Finish work, blade work, all that good stuff. Now, jumping right into it, let's go ahead and call it the obvious. That Damascus looks amazing, but also this is a little guy. We'll go more into detail on that later. We have smooth titanium scales, front and back. We have a deep carry milled titanium pocket clip. We've got these gear style zirconium pivots. Very good looking. We have these very generous thumb studs, which I believe are zirconium as well. And then we've got some nice little milling slots down here on the blade. Part of me wishes the zircotie would be on both sides, but then you would have zircotie sitting under the pocket clip, and I think that would be more annoying. So I'm actually pretty okay with it just being on this one side. We are rocking a 2/3 backspacer, which is nice. It's got sort of this oh boy, the word's escaping me. I don't know, I guess I'll just say like riveted texture, or maybe some wide jimping. We don't have a spot for a lanyard, which is fine, but never mind. As I'm speaking, I literally see a spot for a lanyard. I am restarted. Well, that's out of the way. Now, as far as the blade goes, we have a nice, handsome, deep swedge. We have technically a compound grind because it changes right here towards the tip. That leaves us very slicey down here with a flat grind, but still very robust towards the tip for any piercing that we need to do. They did not leave, if you look, they did not leave the tip vulnerable, right? This thing is a little pack mule. It is a workhorse. Tiny but mighty, I would say. Because look how thick that blade stock is. Yeah, this thing is only small in size, but an absolute beefcake as far as getting the job done. Now we are rocking M390. I don't know the heat treat. I want to say it's like 61 to 63, but don't quote me on that. They didn't have it listed on the website. And we are rocking a very nice belt satin for the swedge and the grind here. We have kind of I guess horizontal satin right there at the tip, and then we've got a hand satin for the flats, which looks really, really nice ergonomically. I wear large size gloves, I can get a full 4-finger grip without feeling like I have to cramp. I mean, I dare say even have, just a minutia of spare room. But overall, this knife feels great. With the way the pocket clip lays flat and wide, it disappears in your hand. And yeah, your hands doesn't fit perfectly into all these grooves. Oh, sorry for the shake. But realistically, you don't really feel any of them. I mean, you can get right up here with your thumb and just move material, cut through boxes, bags of dog food, whatever you need to. I mean, you've got full control. I mean, it might not be a huge knife, but you feel like you can easily use every single inch of blade. And the level of control you have for like your draw cuts or your detailed cuts, it's a soft tanto, right? So you still have this section right here, which is more of a belly than anything, but you can get that right down onto a surface and just start shredding through whatever your paper-based adversary is for the moment. So ergonomically, it feels really, really good. We have near perfect balancing, I want to say. Yeah, because that's about where you want your finger to be. Maybe a little further up. Let's see if we can get it. So maybe slightly butt heavy, because technically you want your finger up here. So ever so slightly butt heavy, but overall very lightweight. We have jimping up here. That's some pretty deep jimping, so it's actually functional. It won't stop you in your tracks, but you can definitely lean into it and use it to keep yourself in place. I personally think I would go more of a full grip with this knife, where I don't necessarily need the jimping. But if you need it, it's there for you. As far as the action goes, we have a medium detent. Oh, there we go. What I find the most impressive, though, is how drop shutty this blade is for its size. Typically, whenever you're working with lightweight knives, the blade can't fall under its own weight, but they have the tolerances on this knife tuned so finely that it will absolutely fall under its own weight. Typically, you pop it out, you get a single, you drop it, single shake shut, and then you're closed. Acoustics are fantastic. You can listen, you get this little click disengagement. And then a nice little like clunk at the bottom. Now, they made the thumb studs swappable, right? Really easy to swap. You can literally just pull them off and put on anything else that you want. The trade-off for that is that as you fidget, the thumb studs can come loose. Now, it takes a long time to undo the thumb studs. So if they get a little loose, that doesn't mean that they're about to fall out. That just means they got a little loose and you want to tighten them back up. Now, I'm not going to swap the thumb studs because these are ridiculously comfortable thumb studs. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up taking the thumb studs out, putting a dab of Loctite inside them, reconnecting them, and then just leaving them. But it wasn't a design flaw that makes the studs loosen up a little bit after fidgeting for a while. It's the fact that they just wanted the studs to be super easy to replace. That way, if you had some, bench-made studs or some Timascus studs. Oh, actually, Timascus studs might go pretty hard now that I think about it. But if you wanted to swap the studs out, they just wanted it to be super easy, right? So you could literally just unscrew these. And I'm not going to go any further, but you get the point. You can just unscrew them. And then if you want to keep them, or if you put new ones in, just dab it with some Loctite or some glue. Lock them in, let them sit, and you'll be fine. Now, overall length in this bad boy, we are coming in at 6 inches with a blade length of 2.65 inches. And that gives us a blade to handle ratio of 0.79 or 79%, which is fantastic. 0.8 is always the goal, but this is pretty damn close. Size comparisons up against the Civivi Altus. The Altus is obviously dwarfing it. Let's go up against the milled aluminum Civivi Brazen. Also dwarfing it. I don't have the real steel Sylph, unfortunately, but I did get a new guy in, the Big Idea Design Overlook, which is an excellent size comparison. So the Overlook has it beat slightly by maybe 1/4 of an inch. And then we'll go ahead and do the ProTech TR3 Integrity. Which is going to be laughably larger. And then the overall weight for this guy is coming in at, it looks like around 2 ounces, but let me double check really quick. Pull out the handy dandy scale. Ooh, 1.9 for that guy. That's wild. Oh, okay, so 3 ounces for this guy. Yeah, sitting right at 3 ounces. So not super light, probably because of the blade stock thickness. Still getting used to the size. All right, so what is the price of this guy? This guy right here runs you $329. That is not a small amount of money. Now, they do have different inlay options. You can get the Timascus, which I like, but you also have mother of pearl options, which look really, really good too. But is this knife worth $329? Well, there's a few things to talk about here. One, smaller knife, less materials doesn't mean less expensive, right? The amount of materials that go into the knife have hardly any merit on what the cost is, unless you're talking about like an overbuilt monster from Midgard's Messer or Max Ace or something like that, right? But if you're talking the difference in price between, you know, this knife and a knife like this, well, the size has no bearing whatsoever. What you really want to look at is what materials are used, not how much of it, and what machining and complexity went into it, and what after machining touches went into it. So first, this is zirconium and Timascus, which adds to the cost. We have M390 blade steel, optimally heat treated. That's going to add to the cost. We have intricately milled titanium pocket clip, intricately milled titanium backspacer, and then we have some milling up front that's going to add to the cost. More important than the premium materials, though, because you could just put a knife together like this and slap $329 on it, and I would be a little confused. I would have a hard time coming up with the $329. But not only do we have all of those things I just mentioned, but this is hand finished. That means after this goes through a machine and gets roughed out, a single man, Sanyuto, if I said it correctly, goes through and does the hand finishing. He's only one guy and he does it for the entire company. No knife leaves the factory without passing through his hands first. That makes this a mid-tech, right? And if you don't know what a mid-tech is, that's fine. You have production. There's more layers than this, but I'm simplifying it. You have production, you have mid-tech, you have machine-assisted custom, and then you have a custom. Production is this. It goes in a machine, it comes out of machine, it gets looked over for quality assurance, and then it gets put in a box and sent out to a store or a customer. Then you have mid-tech, which is where this comes out of a machine, 80% finished, and then you have somebody that goes through and they might do the sharpening, they might do the belt satin finish, They might manually install the studs and the zirconium pivots. They might manually install the Damascus. They might go through and hand finish, the titanium. They can go through and do all sorts of stuff. But when you have one person touching every single knife, there's no doubt about it. That's a mid-tech. And then machine assisted custom is similar to a mid-tech, but it's less machine, more human, whereas mid-tech is more machine, less human. And then you have a full-on custom, which can be a little amount of machining, mostly human, all the way to just human. So yes, 329 is actually underpriced for what you're getting. Yes, it's made in China. Yes, it's a small knife. Yes, it's just M390. But yes, a single man hand finished this knife and put a good amount of work and effort into it before it ever made it to my hands. And whether you like the knife, whether you like the price, that just factually costs more money. And I for one, am all for it. I love the fact that this went through an artisan before it came to me. I love the fact that it's got some imperfections. I enjoy the crap out of this knife. I think it's fantastic. I love the Damascus. I love the zirconium. The fact that it's an inset liner lock with plenty of room to disengage. The fact that the blade is actually drop shutty for the size of blade. That's wild. So yeah, I fully support this knife. This would actually be a collection piece for me, not a user. And I say that specifically because of the hand elements that have been added to it. I'm not saying this knife can't stand up to daily use. I mean, I've used it for some daily things, but that's for the sake of testing. But whenever I purchase one myself, it's just going to be part of the collection. This knife is absolutely worth every bit of $329, and I think if you pick this knife up and you value the fact that there's hand touches after the machining, if you value that, and you value an artistic look to your knife, that I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Just don't forget with the studs though, they do loosen up because they're meant to be swappable. So if you're not going to swap them, dab them with glue. If you are going to swap them, then swap them and still dab them with glue just to lock them in place. All right, guys. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. There's going to be a few ways to support the channel if you want to help out with shipping down in the description below. You can also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at Sever7, SEVR7. And if you made it this far, we have a prototype, guys. We freaking did it. Kubi actually physically produced the damn prototype to my knife. They sent me pictures. It looks phenomenal. I'm super pumped. I will be sharing more, but it'll likely be at the very end of videos where only like the real ones stick around. You know what I mean? All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Much love. Thank you for the support. Peace.